All right, so as I said in the post, I've done some coding here. I used AI to write me a script to scrape the UDisc leaderboard, so I'm just going to show the steps that I went through there. So really what you need to do is you need to install Python. You need to install Selenium, which is like a module or an add-on to Python. And then you need to install a WebDriver. And I installed a Chrome WebDriver because I'm using Chrome as my browser, and that's like literally in my C:\Windows folder. I had to install this Chrome driver file. So I don't really know what any of that means. I had AI write me this setup test script to see if I was set up properly, and when I ran it, it complained about the version of the WebDriver that I have. So then I told it to find me the exact version of the WebDriver I need to match my Chrome browser, and it did. So there you go. AI rules all. So so you can just Google that, install Python, install Selenium, and install your WebDriver, and you're good to go. So at that point, I have this scrape one script, which AI wrote me to scrape the UDisc leaderboard. So to run that, I just run Python scrape1.py and give it the event ID, which is swords91, which was the Valleague semifinals. So it instantiates a browser here, and there's a sleep timer in the script for like 15 seconds to make sure that it has time to display this. And then the script scrapes the scores off of there and saves it to leaderboard.csv. So we have this new file, leaderboard.csv. And if we look at that, you can see we have the results from UDisc. So that's pretty cool. And that was super easy, no problem. Way easier than I thought it would be to get that to a CSV file on my hard drive. So the problem then, or not the problem, but the harder part that I didn't understand would be getting this file to Google Drive or into Google Sheets so that we can display it on the leaderboard. So my first try was to have Python upload this file to Google Drive. And there is a Google Drive add-in or module for Python called PyDrive, and that will upload this file. But it looks like it uses something called Google Cloud, and it looks like there was a fee for that, or it was free for 90 days and then there was a fee or something. And I just didn't want to get into all that, so I abandoned the direct upload. If you have Google Cloud or if you want to go down that road, it's probably a super easy way to just have the script scrape into leaderboard.csv and then upload that file to Google Drive. Probably incredibly easy. I just didn't want to go down that path because it looked like it was going to cost money and I didn't understand what Google Cloud was. So my second try was to have the script write to a Google Sheet. Instead of writing to leaderboard.csv on my local drive, I had the Python script write to a Google Sheet. Like I gave it a URL for the Google Sheet that I wanted it to write to and had it write the results there. And that worked, except that it couldn't handle the emojis. So I had it strip the emojis and then it worked and it was writing to the Google Sheet directly. But all my emojis were gone. So people like Luckiest Guy and Aaron and so forth didn't have their emojis. So then I had to go through a bunch of manipulations and matching to get the emojis back and figure out who was who. And that just seemed like a hassle. So I abandoned that. So that was try number two. So try number three was I write to a CSV locally and then automatically sync that CSV to my Google Drive. So that's what I've done. If you look at my folders here. I have a UDisc leaderboard folder that has a green check mark on it. And that green check mark is because I'm syncing this folder to Google Drive. And I have a file in there. I don't know what this Google Sheets file is. I don't really understand this syncing fully, but anyway, I write to this CSV UDisc leaderboard, and that gets synced automatically. And if I come down here and bring up Google Drive, in my preferences, you can see that I'm syncing one folder, UDisc leaderboard, to Google Drive. So this folder, UDisc leaderboard, is being synced to Google Drive. So anything that I write to this folder gets synced automatically to Google Drive. And of course, once it's in Google Drive, we can access it from Google Sheets. So that's how we're getting the data up there. So you can see if we look at this, this is something that I had, the scrape routine right out here. I have a separate version. It's called Scrape 4, and Scrape 4 writes to UDisc leaderboard, UDisc leaderboard .csv, and it includes the number of holes that are there through. So we have the F by everyone here, except for I have made some manual modifications. I said that Koopa has only played 8 holes, and Two Chains has only played 7, and Josiah has played 0. And so then we get that UDisc leaderboard.csv. It automatically gets synced up, so then it's just a matter of pulling it into your spreadsheet. So I think that's all I wanted to see there. Yeah. All right. So then I have this Valleague standings sheet that I've modified. This is Greg's fancy leaderboard sheet. And I just have a tab here called imported scores. And so then what I've done is I've made an app script, which I again had AI write for me because I didn't know exactly how to do this. And it reads from that CSV that has been synced to Google Drive. And in order to do that, I needed to supply the file ID of that Google Sheet or of that CSV. So really all I had to do was open up the CSV and find out what its file ID was and put that into the script. So then once this script knows that file ID, it can read the CSV and pull in the scores. So here's my sheet, and I'll just delete some of it just to show you that this works. So come here and run this sheet or run this script, and it's going to say that it imported the scores. And then we go back to our imported scores sheet, and you can see that it read everything in here. So that's pretty cool. Oh, so what I wanted to tell you that I forgot that was that back here on my hard drive, this scrape 4 script that writes to UDisc leaderboard, UDisc leaderboard.csv, that scrape 4 script, of course, you can put that in Windows Scheduler or whatever scheduling tool you have and run that every 1 minute or every 2 minutes or every 5 minutes or whatever you want. And it will constantly then be updating the CSV locally on the hard drive. And then that local CSV is being synced to Google Drive automatically and immediately. So yes, you would need a computer open and running this. Sorry, my phone is talking to me. So you would need a computer open and running this script every 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or what have you. In my limited testing, this method of screen scraping doesn't work unless it's like unless it has focus on the computer. So if you're doing something else on the computer, the screen scraping won't work. So you literally have to sit your computer there and just let it run this screen scraper script all day, um, every 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever you set it up for. So that's how you write the CSV, periodically. And then in Google Sheets, you have this app that reads in that CSV into your results spreadsheet, and you can set that up to run periodically. So I haven't ever done that before, but there's this thing that lets you set up periodic running of a script. So you can go here to your import scores script and set that up to run again every 5 minutes or what have you. So that's it. That's how you get the data into your sheet. And there you go. Once it's in your sheet, you can do whatever manipulations you want to get it into your, your fancy results layout here. I did some queries. The example that I showed here was like Koopa is through 8 holes and 2 Chains is through 7 and Josiah isn't finished yet. So my example here was that Koopa and 2 Chains are actually done. They just didn't play the last 1 or 2 holes. So I have this sheet called false incomplete, and I manually listed 2 Chains and Koopa on there. In other words, saying I know that they're not listed as done, but they truly are done. So go ahead and use their results. So then on my completed players tab, I have all of the completed players, including Koopa and 2 Chains, even though they didn't have an F next to their name for being done. And then this final query that I show here is all of the completed players plus anybody that didn't have an F next to their name, and that's Josiah here. So that's everybody that's done plus Josiah. So yeah, I was just playing around with ways to integrate that into this sheet here. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll go from there.